5 things I don't do anymore after 65. Aging is a journey, a path that slowly reveals what is essential, what can be let go, and what brings the most joy and peace. By the time many of us reach our mid 60s, life has taught us enough that we're ready to embrace what truly matters and release what doesn't serve us anymore. We find ourselves dropping certain habits, worries, and practices that once occupied so much of our time and mental space. Instead, we turn our focus to relationships, well being, and experiences that enrich our lives. Here are 5 things I, and many others in this stage of life, don't do anymore after reaching 65. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. I don't sweat the small stuff. When I was younger, it felt like every little thing mattered. A bad commute, a late bill, an offhand comment from a colleague. These things could occupy my mind for hours, even days. I spent so much time worrying over things that, in hindsight, didn't have much importance. Now that I've reached 65, I've learned that life is far too short and precious to waste on the small stuff. The inconveniences, annoyances, and fleeting frustrations that used to consume me no longer hold the same weight. I've discovered that peace and clarity come from letting go. Seeing life with a wider lens. One of the biggest changes that come with age is perspective. I look back now and realize how much energy I wasted being upset over things that, in the grand scheme of life, were barely worth a second thought. As we age, we naturally develop a wider lens. We see things in the context of all we've lived through: career ups and downs, family challenges, losses, and triumphs. With this broader perspective, I've come to realize that the bumps and bruises of daily life are minor in comparison to what truly matters. This shift allows me to focus my time and energy on what I find meaningful, rather than getting bogged down by life's small disruptions. Learning to let go of control for years, I tried to control everything around me, from work deadlines to how I appeared to others. It was exhausting and, ultimately, futile. No matter how hard we try, life is unpredictable. Now, I know that my peace doesn't come from controlling situations or people, but from adapting to whatever comes my way. I've learned to let go and trust that things will unfold as they're meant to, and that's brought me a calm I wish I'd found sooner. A traffic jam, a delayed response from a friend, or a little mess in the house don't feel worth stressing over anymore. Prioritizing peace over perfection. Perfection used to feel like something worth striving for. A spotless house, well-planned events, a flawless work record. I've learned over time, though, that perfection is not only unattainable, but it also doesn't bring the peace or happiness we hope it will. Nowadays, I find joy in things just as they are. A slightly messy house feels lived in and cozy. A get-together that doesn't go exactly as planned still fills me with the warmth of togetherness. By embracing imperfection, I've given myself permission to relax and appreciate life's little moments without the stress of constantly measuring up. Choosing what deserves my energy. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned is that not everything deserves my attention. I've come to accept that some things are worth addressing and others are best left alone. For example, a passing disagreement or minor criticism is now something I can brush off, rather than dwelling on it for hours or days. My peace of mind is more important than getting the last word or being right. Instead, I choose to save my energy for meaningful conversations, joyful experiences, and nurturing relationships. In choosing not to sweat the small stuff, I've made room for more joy, less stress, and a deeper appreciation for each day. This shift has made my life richer and given me a sense of contentment I didn't know was possible. It's a wonderful freedom, one that has come with age, experience, and the wisdom to know what truly matters. 2. I don't neglect my health anymore. In our younger years, Good health can feel like something that's simply there. We get caught up in work, raising families, and chasing dreams, often without thinking too much about the fuel we're putting into our bodies, the exercise we're skipping, or the stress we're brushing aside. But once we reach 65, health can no longer be taken for granted. It becomes something we have to actively nurture and protect. At this stage, I no longer let my health take a back seat. I've come to realize that the best gift I can give myself and those I love is to take good care of my physical and mental well being. Respecting my body's needs. With age comes the wisdom to listen to our bodies. I used to ignore the small signs, a bit of fatigue here, a bit of joint pain there, telling myself I'd deal with it later. Now, I know that later isn't a luxury I have when it comes to health. I pay attention to my body's cues and treat them as important messages. This includes taking breaks when I need them, eating foods that nourish rather than just satisfy, and seeking medical advice when something feels off. This attentiveness isn't about paranoia. It's about respecting the limits and needs of a body that has carried me through life and deserves the best care I can give it. Staying active, no matter the pace. I've learned that health isn't just about avoiding illness, it's about staying active and engaged. I no longer need to prove anything to anyone by pushing myself too hard, but I also don't let myself slip into total inactivity. Whether it's a gentle walk around the neighborhood, a session of stretching or yoga, or simply making an effort to get up and move frequently throughout the day, I prioritize staying active at a pace that suits my body now. Each step I take, every movement I make is a reminder that I'm investing in my longevity and quality of life. Embracing preventative care as a priority. In my younger years, a visit to the doctor often felt like a chore. If I didn't feel sick, I saw no reason to go. Now, I understand that preventative care is one of the smartest investments I can make in myself. Regular checkups, screenings, and staying on top of recommended health protocols are no longer things I put off. I want to be around to enjoy life with my family and friends for as long as possible, and preventative care gives me the best shot at that. I go to these appointments with gratitude, knowing that they're part of a proactive approach to my well being. Taking mental health seriously, physical health is just one part of the equation. I've come to see that mental and emotional well being are equally important to living a balanced, fulfilled life. At this stage, I actively make time for activities that nourish my mind and lift my spirits. Whether it's reading, tackling a new puzzle, learning a hobby, or even joining a community group, I seek out things that keep me mentally sharp and socially engaged. I've come to understand that isolation and monotony can be as harmful to health as any physical ailment. So I prioritize staying connected and engaged with the world around me. Practicing mindful living for health and happiness. The pressure, hustle, and multitasking of my younger years have given way to a more mindful way of living. I've learned to slow down, to eat my meals with intention, to savor my surroundings, and to breathe deeply when stress arises. These practices may sound simple, but they've brought me a level of calm and well being I hadn't experienced before. Practicing mindfulness not only helps reduce stress and improve mental clarity, but also enhances my physical health. By consciously choosing to slow down and be present, I'm giving my mind and body the care they deserve. Balancing rest and activity. Another valuable lesson I've learned is the importance of balancing rest with activity. In the past, rest often felt like a luxury or even a sign of laziness, something I'd squeeze in after everything else was done. Now, I see rest as essential. It's how my body recovers and recharges, and without it, my health suffers. I prioritize getting good sleep, and I listen to my body's need for rest throughout the day. I no longer feel guilty about taking a nap or sitting down with a book. Instead, I see it as an investment in my overall health. In making my health a priority, I found a renewed sense of energy and well being. I no longer see health as something I can put off for tomorrow. Instead, I view each choice I make as a step toward living a life that's vibrant, healthy, and full of joy for as long as possible. Taking care of myself has become an act of gratitude for all the experiences I've had and a commitment to the ones I still look forward to. 3. I don't overextend myself or people please anymore. In our younger years, many of us feel compelled to say yes to everything. We agree to help with projects, attend social events, take on extra responsibilities at work, and stretch ourselves to meet the needs and expectations of others. This urge to please, to be liked, respected, and accommodating can consume a lot of our time and energy. But by the time we reach 65, we've learned the importance of setting boundaries. We understand that constantly overextending ourselves isn't sustainable, nor does it bring lasting fulfillment. Now, I've made peace with saying no when I need to, and I prioritize relationships and commitments that genuinely enrich my life. Understanding the power of boundaries. In the past, saying no often felt uncomfortable, even selfish. I worried that turning down requests would disappoint people, make them think less of me, or create tension. But as I've grown older, I've come to see that boundaries are essential. They're not just about protecting my time, they're about preserving my energy, my peace of mind, and my happiness. When I set a boundary, I'm choosing to respect my own needs rather than constantly sacrificing them for others. This understanding has allowed me to give my yes more meaning. When I do say yes, it's because I truly want to, not because I feel obligated. Choosing quality over quantity in relationships. As we age, the relationships that we value tend to shift. I no longer feel the need to keep up with a large social circle or attend every gathering out of a sense of duty. Instead, I choose to invest my time in relationships that bring me joy, comfort, and a sense of belonging. I cherish friendships and family connections where there is mutual respect and understanding. These are the relationships where I can be myself, where there is no pressure to impress or keep up appearances. This focus on quality over quantity has deepened my connections and brought me a level of contentment that I didn't experience when I was constantly trying to please everyone. Embracing the freedom to say no without guilt. For so much of my life, no felt like a word to avoid. I didn't want to let people down, to seem unkind, or to create conflict. But I've learned that saying no is one of the most empowering things I can do for myself. It's a way of honoring my time, my health, and my peace. Now, when I say no, I do it without guilt. I know that I'm not rejecting a person or being selfish. I'm simply making a choice that aligns with my well-being. And by setting these boundaries, I find I'm more present and engaged in the things I do say yes to, because I'm not exhausted or overextended. Letting go of the need for approval. The desire to please often comes from a need for validation. In my younger years, I wanted to be seen as helpful, agreeable, and dependable. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that my worth doesn't depend on other people's opinions. I've let go of the need for external approval, and it's incredibly freeing. I no longer shape my choices around what others might think. Instead, I make decisions that feel right for me. This shift has brought me a deeper sense of confidence and self-acceptance. I don't need to prove myself to anyone anymore, and that has made my life more authentic and satisfying. Prioritizing time for myself. Now that I've stopped overextending myself, I finally have the time to focus on my own interests, hobbies, and personal growth. Whether it's spending a quiet afternoon reading, gardening, taking a walk, or exploring a new hobby, I make time for the things that bring me happiness and a sense of purpose. I no longer feel that my worth is measured by how much I do for others. Instead, I value the time I spend nurturing myself and my own joy. This isn't about being selfish. It's about recognizing that I can only show up fully for others when I've taken care of myself first. Finding true joy in selective commitments. One of the beautiful outcomes of setting boundaries and saying no more often is that the commitments I do take on are deeply fulfilling. I've learned to choose activities and engagements that align with my values and bring real joy. whether it's volunteering, attending a family gathering, or spending time with close friends. I'm selective about where I invest my energy. This approach has made my experiences more meaningful and allows me to show up fully without the lingering exhaustion or resentment that can come from overcommitting. Now, my time is filled with things that truly matter to me. By no longer overextending myself or constantly trying to please others, I've discovered a life that feels genuine, balanced, and rich with meaning. At 65 and beyond, I have the freedom to choose how I spend my days, the people I surround myself with, and the activities that nourish my soul. This choice brings a kind of peace and fulfillment that I couldn't achieve when I was too busy trying to be everything for everyone. Now, I'm content simply being true to myself. 4. I don't put off my dreams or passions anymore. In the hustle and bustle of life, dreams often get postponed. Responsibilities pile up: career goals, raising children, maintaining a household, and the things we're truly passionate about are too often set aside for later. But as I've reached 65, I've come to understand that later doesn't have the same assurance it once did. This stage of life has brought a heightened awareness of time, and I no longer want to leave my dreams and passions waiting. Now, I prioritize what lights me up and makes me feel alive. The things I once put off have become the treasures of my everyday life. Turning someday into today. It's easy to tell ourselves that we'll do something someday, whether it's learning a new language, writing a memoir, or finally taking that trip we've dreamed of. But at this point, I've realized that someday has arrived. I don't want to look back with regrets or wonder what might have been. So, I've started saying yes to these dreams, no matter how big or small they are. By making time for the things I love now, I feel a renewed excitement for life and a satisfaction that I never found when I was always putting these things off. Exploring new hobbies and interests. Reaching 65 has given me the freedom to explore interests that I once thought I'd get around to eventually. Whether it's painting, learning to play an instrument, or gardening, I no longer feel the need to put limits on myself. I'm not worried about being good enough or achieving anything specific with these hobbies. Instead, I dive into them simply for the joy they bring. There's something deeply rewarding about picking up a paintbrush or trying out a new recipe, knowing that I'm doing it just for me. Each new hobby feels like a gift, a reminder that life still has so much to offer. Embracing travel and adventure travel has always been a dream, but for so many years, it was one I set aside for someday. Now, I make it a priority, whether it's exploring a new city, visiting family across the country, or even just taking a weekend drive to a scenic spot. I no longer let fear, finances, or the unknown hold me back. I've learned that travel doesn't have to be grand or far reaching to be meaningful. Each journey, no matter how near or far, enriches my life, offering new perspectives and memories. I no longer worry about having a perfect itinerary. Instead, I embrace the spontaneity and wonder of experiencing new places, cultures, and people. Investing in lifelong learning. When we're younger, education can feel like a requirement rather than a privilege. But now, I view learning as a passion and a joy. I'm more curious than ever, and I take every opportunity to learn something new, whether it's through reading, taking online classes, or joining local workshops. Learning keeps my mind sharp, my curiosity alive, and my perspective fresh. I've found that there's a deep satisfaction in continuing to grow, and I'm grateful to live in a time where so much knowledge is easily accessible. Lifelong learning has added a new dimension to my life, and I no longer feel limited by age when it comes to my potential. Building new friendships and strengthening bonds. Another dream I've started to prioritize is investing more deeply in relationships. While family has always been important, I now find myself actively making time for friends, both old and new. I attend community events, join social groups, and take time to connect with people who share similar interests. This focus on building and strengthening relationships brings a richness to my life that material possessions never could. The memories made with friends and family, the laughter and conversations, these have become the experiences I value most. I don't let busy schedules or self consciousness hold me back from reaching out to others. Instead, I embrace the joy of connection, celebrating small and large milestones. I used to wait for the big moments to celebrate, putting off little joys in anticipation of larger accomplishments. Now, I see the value in marking even the smallest milestones, whether it's completing a project, learning a new skill, or simply experiencing a beautiful day. I make an effort to pause, appreciate, and celebrate. Life itself is worth celebrating, and I no longer wait for some distant perfect moment. Each day holds its own magic, and by honoring these moments, I find myself living more fully and gratefully. By choosing not to put off my dreams and passions, I've found a renewed zest for life. I feel more connected to myself and to the things that truly matter. This stage of life is not about limitations. It's about embracing opportunities, honoring passions, and creating a life that feels deeply satisfying. No longer weighed down by the shoulds and maybes, I'm free to pursue the life I've always wanted. Living out my dreams and passions today has become the most meaningful gift I can give myself. 5. I don't focus on material wealth anymore. Throughout much of life, material wealth often feels like the measure of success. We strive for financial security, a comfortable home, and all the trappings of a good life. But reaching 65 brings a shift in perspective. Over time, I've come to realize that true wealth isn't found in possessions, but in experiences, relationships, and moments that fill the heart. Now, I prioritize memories over money, time with loved ones over things, and a simpler life that feels rich in every way that matters, redefining what success means. In my earlier years, success was closely tied to financial achievements. I worked hard, saved diligently, and invested in things I thought would provide security and happiness. But now I see success differently. Success to me means living a life of purpose, joy, and fulfillment. It's about waking up with gratitude, spending time with people who bring me happiness, and contributing to the lives of others in meaningful ways. Material wealth has taken a back seat, and instead, I find myself feeling rich in ways that money can't buy. Embracing simplicity and minimalism. One of the biggest changes I've embraced is letting go of material clutter. I no longer feel the need to fill my home or my life with things. Instead, I find joy in simplicity. I've started decluttering, giving away items that no longer serve a purpose, and surrounding myself only with things that bring me comfort or hold genuine meaning. This simplicity has brought a sense of peace and freedom. I've discovered that having fewer possessions opens up space, both physically and mentally, for the experiences and relationships that matter most to me. Prioritizing experiences over things. Possessions may offer a temporary thrill, but experiences provide lasting joy and memories. Now, I prioritize experiences, whether it's a meal shared with family, a walk in nature, or a trip to a place I've never been. These moments create memories that bring me happiness long after the experience itself has ended. They don't sit on a shelf gathering dust, they live on in my heart and mind. I've found that experiences bring a kind of wealth that is deeply fulfilling, far more so than any material item could. Investing in relationships as true wealth. I used to focus on what I could acquire. Now I focus on who I can share my time with. At this stage, I value the people in my life far more than any possession. I invest in my relationships with family and friends, taking time to nurture these bonds and make memories together. Each conversation, shared laugh, or family gathering reminds me that relationships are the greatest wealth I have. Time spent with loved ones has a lasting impact, enriching my life in ways that go far beyond material possessions. Cultivating gratitude and contentment. A big part of my journey away from material wealth has been learning to embrace gratitude and contentment. In the past, I often found myself wanting more: a nicer car, a bigger house, or the latest gadget. But now I find joy in what I already have. I've come to see that true contentment doesn't come from acquiring more, it comes from appreciating what's already here. Gratitude has become a daily practice, and with it, I've found a deep sense of peace. I no longer feel the constant urge to upgrade my life. Instead, I cherish the simple, beautiful moments that make each day meaningful. Leaving a legacy beyond material wealth. As I get older, I think more about the legacy I want to leave. I've realized that my true legacy isn't the possessions I leave behind, but the love, kindness, and memories I create with others. I want to be remembered for the experiences I shared, the wisdom I offered, and the positive impact I had on those around me. This perspective has transformed the way I see my life's purpose. Instead of focusing on accumulating wealth, I focus on creating a legacy that reflects my values, my love for my family, and the moments that truly matter. By letting go of a focus on material wealth, I've found a life that feels lighter, richer, and more meaningful. I no longer measure my worth by what I own. Instead, I measure it by the joy I feel, the connections I nurture, and the memories I make. This shift has allowed me to live with purpose, gratitude, and a profound sense of fulfillment. Life after 65 isn't about accumulating things. It's about filling each day with what truly makes us feel alive. Conclusion: embracing a life of purpose and peace. After 65. At this stage in life, I find that I no longer need to chase the things that once felt so important, letting go of worries over the small stuff, caring for my health with renewed dedication, setting boundaries, pursuing passions, and shifting away from a focus on material wealth. These changes have brought me a deeper sense of fulfillment and joy than I ever expected. Living with intention, prioritizing the people and experiences that bring meaning, and savoring the present have become my guiding principles. After 65, life isn't about proving anything or keeping up with expectations. It's about savoring each day, embracing simplicity, and finding contentment in the journey itself. Each moment feels precious, each relationship richer, and each day an opportunity to live fully with a sense of peace and gratitude that only time and experience can bring. I cherish this stage, knowing that it's a time to truly be myself, live authentically, and focus on what matters most. Here's to embracing this chapter with open arms and a heart full of purpose. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.